Hey guys, how are you? I welcome. I'm great to have you on here. I'm just going to give it a minute or two and let people jump on so they can get into the beginning of the program. I'm just lucky and happy today to get my man Jake Penny on here. Jake came to us a few months ago when we decided after some time to put out our raising private money training, not just online, but actually do it one-on-one. The reason we decided to do one-on-one is we saw a little bit of an issue out there with people going through our training, buying the online training. It's the same training we took Jake through, but actually not taking action. And that we know that people go out and buy courses, they go to events, and there's something holding them up from taking action. And I spoke to my marketing guy, and it was driving me insane that I had so many people. I had a couple hundred people buy the training course, and we had a lot of success stories. But to me, I don't like having no success. I don't like when there's one person that doesn't do it. I don't understand why people get involved in training or marketing or attending events and wasting time and don't take action. So I said, listen, I could take up to 3, maybe 4 people, students, one-on-one. And we did this for a 12-week. The next class is going to be 10 weeks. 12 weeks was a little bit long for what we needed. But I got to say, they've all been pretty successful. Jake's pretty much knocked it out of the park, and he doesn't realize what he's done. Jake is coming to us a show star at DIY, right? He's going to talk a little bit about that. So he's already been on TV, raised over $300,000 in private money, and hasn't even done his first event until next week, right? December 10th, I think is his first.
The 10th and 12th.
Right? And we're going to talk a little bit about your private lending event. And that's going to be with 5 people. Put it out and got 5 confirmations of accredited type investors coming to that event, which is really cool. And the difference between what Jake has done and what all the other people that might not have done is Jake has taken action. So, Jake, I know you're busy. You're out there working on some properties right now. You just told me you raised some money today. But I appreciate you being on and sharing with the group what you've gone through. So just tell people a little bit about your history, where you came from, what you were doing before, and what you're doing now.
Absolutely, Dan. Thanks for having me. So before I got into the program, I just really didn't know where to start, especially with raising money, right? I got started in real estate 3 years ago, and there was this thing called hard money, right? And hard money's hard, right? You know, it costs you a lot of money, and it eats up a lot of profits. And it was something that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do a lot of deals with. So I had to get out there and start raising money from private investors, but I didn't know how or where to start. So recently I got into Dan's program, raising capital with private investors. And it really helped me, learn the biggest thing was how to keep our investors safe, right? With the proper documents, structuring the deal, the presentation, which I love. I can't wait to present on the 10th. But the
drink up. I know you're talking like crazy. Jake knows fast talk because I'm a New Yorker, and I always what I got to tell you during all the training calls. I'm like, oh, slow up. It's excitement.
But it was a 12-week course, and Dan taught me how to do all the legal documents to keep our investors safe. When it was the mortgage, the personal guarantee, assignment of rents, what else? Promissory notes, and things that I wasn't doing before, which could have, hurt, our current investors. And now, it's their investment's secure. And then it also makes them feel a lot more comfortable now knowing that they're getting better than average return. Plus they're secured by a tangible asset like real estate. It's filed in the court. I learned so much, it's just.
I know it's just spewing at the mouth right now. I know how.
Yeah.
And what I think, let me ask you this, because we'll talk a little bit about what you learned and what you're doing now. And the reason I'm putting this out there is because I really want to showcase you what you've done, because I want to kind of say, hey, I back this guy. I really know he's looking out for his investors. We've talked about deals throughout our training. we've talked about due diligence. And in fact, today Jake's putting together a package on another deal. So he's going to be working on that and shoot it to me. He's done with the program, and I'm still going to go through and review it for him, because the bottom line is I want to make sure that he's protecting not only his investors, he's protecting himself. And sometimes the deal might not be a good deal, and he needs to look at it a little differently. And what I see a lot of people come to me and ask me for money to fund their deals. And what they're doing is they're just sending me a deal. Hey, Dan, will you fund this deal? I know nothing about the deal. And I think we spoke. I think that's probably where I see your biggest where I, from the outside as a mentor, so your biggest change is the mind shift is, hey, how do I present the deal? Right? Not only because I look at a deal, and sometimes you can eyeball a deal and see how it goes, but how do you present the deal to an investor where they want to jump in with you? And I think that's probably how you've gotten to the point where you've raised now over $300,000 in private money, and that's without doing your first event. I mean, that event's going to probably put you over that million mark, I'm pretty sure. But what was the difference now? What were you doing before, when you tried to raise private money?
Oh, well, I mean, I would just pretty much say, hey, I have this property. First of all, I was just totally just picking up the phone and reaching out to people and not doing it the right way, the regulated way. And I would just say, hi, this is the purchase price, this is the ARV, this is the rehab, this is what you'll make, and that's it. And Dan taught me how to put together a credibility package where it's like previous projects we've done, before and after pictures, what our projection was to make, what our investors were going to make, and then other things like what else, what was it,
well, your bio and
the bio, and that just pretty much is our story, our why we got involved, how can everybody benefit, and the presentation, investor questionnaire, and my private money brochure, which was totally out of the park. And help design that.
You have that handy? You have that handy? You could show that? I love that.
I mean,
grab it. Show if you have it.
If I can find it real quick.
You better find those damn things. We worked on that for a long time.
I looked for it before we got on, because I wanted to show that, because I mean, the way it came out, the color and how it looks, everything in it. That'll.
You got my same the guys that do my marketing for me, that do my logos, that do my paperwork, that do all that. What I love about you is you didn't question it. You didn't say, "Yeah, let me try to save a couple dollars and do this on my own." And I don't own the marketing company. I don't get a commission if you use them. I don't work on getting commissions if you use the people I recommend to you. I just tell them, I'm only going to refer you to people I particularly use myself, because I can vouch for them, right? And I'm like, listen, just give them a good deal. Take care of my students. Take care of anyone I refer you. Just like you, if I'm going to refer you over to somebody I do business with, don't screw them around. Don't nickel and dime them. And those, I think just from your brochure, if I remember right, what we did is we had it sent out to the list we helped you build, right? The list we talked about building. I know we beat you up about building a list. So the list you built, we sent that out, and right from there, did you raise some money from that brochure?
Yeah, yep. By sending that out, I raised $50,000, and then I actually had a few people come out that are coming out to the private money event as well. That I just asked for their opinion. That was it.
And that's some of it. And and I know you were a little scared. I remember, because I'm like, send this out. I think I said hit the send button now. Hit the send button.
Yeah. You're just like,
and I was like, oh wow, somebody responded. Somebody said, hey, I'm interested. And it was you and one of the other students I had too, Logan. He hit the send button, and someone said, oh, I didn't know you did this. I'm looking to invest some of my money. So that was pretty cool. So just go through, how long did it really take from the time we started the training to get your first commitment of somebody saying, hey, I want to fund some of your deals?
I would say probably like 4 weeks in or so.
Okay.
I mean, because we met on a weekly basis, and then it was just like, I just kept talking about it, showing people what I was doing. And then I sent out like the brochure, then sent out like hey, I just want your opinion on my what I'm doing right now. And then it just all started to come full circle. And people have seen me before, but I never really like reached out. And then I started posting, this stuff and started reaching out with this. And they're like, well, how do we get involved? How do we get started? Because everybody wants to be in real estate.
And it's just the beginning. That's why I'm so excited about you and the other couple students that we worked with. Like I said, we only took on 3, and we took one person on later in because he was just a rock star, and we knew he'd be a rock star, and he was an action taker. So, and I think he's already raised like $650. Hasn't even done his first event yet. That's how much of an action taker he was. So it's like, for us, it's just like you. Why I wanted to put you on here. Like, for us, we want to almost hedge our bets. We only want to work with people with the right mindset, people that are action takers, people that believe in themselves, people that value themselves enough to invest in mentorship. And, this is something, honestly, it's a $25,000, $30,000 course, and that's where it's going to. And just raising $300,000, you made more than 25, 30 grand back already, just in points alone, that you can use that money over and over. And that $300,000 is probably $1 million already, because nobody gives you everything they have to start with.
Right.
So, and you haven't even done your first meeting. Our first meeting is next week. And within 30 days of that meeting, people can hit you up and say, hey, how'd it go? Because like we talk about, you don't raise money at a meeting. You just present your product. And you're going to go in there with just tell the people what you've prepared. Because I think people think, now you've seen it, but I think people think I just go in there and I wing it, right? And you actually now have done everything I've done. And you're starting your book here soon. And that's the next thing you're going to start. Awesome. But let's talk about everything you've done, the steps you've taken from the training to get you where you're at. Because I don't want to tell people it's easy. I know it's this great claim out there that, hey, raise $1 million or more in 90 days or less, and you're definitely going to hit that. I know that for sure, because of where you have $300,000 without doing your first event. And I say 90 days or less after training, really. I don't even, anything before that is just a bonus. This is all bonus money to me. It's not planned. My plan is, okay, the training just ended. From here on in 90 days, if you do what we tell you to do, stay consistent, you will bypass that $1 million mark. It's almost impossible. Nothing's impossible, but it's almost impossible unless you don't do what we tell you to do, or you get fed up or frustrated that it doesn't work. But just go through the steps of what you've done, so people can understand that what it takes to raise private money the right way. And why private money is so important is, just real quick before we even talk about what you've done, what kind of rates and terms are you offering? And this is not an offer to raise money to anybody here, but just so they can kind of see the difference in private money compared to hard money. What kind of terms, rates, time are you raising money at now compared to where you were getting it at hard money?
So before, I was paying anywhere for hard money, like 10 on a good day to up to 16% with like 2 to 4 points, right? And now I'm raising money at anywhere from 6 to 8% with no points. And that's for a whole year. I mean, you can't beat that.
That's just unreal right there. That alone is worth its weight in gold, because the amount of money, if you were to pay even if you paid 3 points on $300,000, that's $9,000. Plus the difference from 6% interest to 12 to 14% interest. Mm-hmm. Right there, you're at about a $15,000 savings.
Yeah, and you got to think about the velocity.
And here's the thing: once you start using this money over and over again, the velocity money, it just quadruples. And the other part of it is, you have money. You're telling people money for a year right now, but if you wanted to get into long-term rentals, a lot of these people have money in their self-directed IRAs, solo 401ks, Coverdell's, health savings accounts, cash. They don't need the money right now. So if you get somebody in there that's 45 years old, they can't even touch the money till they're 59 and a half. So let's say 15 years. You essentially, if you tell them I need the money for 3 to 5 years, most people that trust you are going to say fine. They don't want the money back, right?
Yeah. So, and that was a great thing that I learned through the training, was that, mostly everybody that you talk to has money to invest potentially in your deals. They just don't know it, right? They have equity in their home, or they don't know that they can invest in real estate, because we're always told we can only invest in the stock market, So that was, we're able to educate our potential investors on ways they can get involved into the real estate.
Now, before we did the training, did you have any idea that people can invest money through self-directed IRAs, solo 401ks, Coverdell's, outside accounts, and stuff like that?
I had a little bit of understanding, but not as much as I do now.
Why didn't you back then? Why didn't you even look into that?
Man, I mean, that's a really good question. I think it is just more so, I mean, the fear maybe, of going out and raising money, because it's not easy. And, going out there out of your comfort zone to go raise money from individuals is much more easier just to say like this and go raise, not raise, but go to get hard money. But you're only going to be able to do so many deals a year with that, and you're never going to be able to scale. And you're not in control of your own destiny there, really. You're at the mercy of hard money lenders.
And I'll tell you this. I mean, you said it itself. Listen, I do not a ton, but I do some hard money out there as well. And now you started talking about, hey, I raise money at 6 to 8%, and I'm lending it out at 12, 14, 15%, 2 to 6 points or whatever it is you're paying. Don't you see yourself eventually one day saying, you know what, maybe I become a banker. Maybe I become a hard money guy myself. And if I learn how to raise, what's going to happen when you start raising $3 to $5 million, which you're going to raise that. Probably I'm going to give you about a year to 2 years, and you're going to raise over $3 million. Conservatively, you'll probably do more, but I'm going to be conservative and say about $3 million because you're doing the meetings. You're going to be at a point where you don't have anywhere to put your money. And that's an issue, next issue you're going to run into. And I'm kind of letting people know up front, because I see people, and we ask people all the time, one of the questions to get in our group is, what are your biggest issues or concerns? And over 90%, I think it was 92% of the people, at over 2,000 people that requested to get in, over 90% of them, so at least 1,800 people, said raising money or capital for my deals. And it mind boggles me that people are having trouble raising money in the deals. When we have so much money, we're chasing deals. We're not chasing money. So you're going to get to the point. And that's why we do some hard money lending, because we want to put money in play. We don't want to just hold money, right? So do you see that now, whereas before, you didn't see that? I mean, do you see that now? How much easier it's going to be to get money?
Absolutely. I mean, because like now I'm able to present myself 10 times better now, where now it's just, from before it was just like, hey, I have this deal, fund it, please, and now I have a whole system behind it. Now I'm an authority figure almost, that says I'm a professional. Here's my credibility packet. And I can educate you and teach you how to make better than average returns with your, traditional savings, IRAs, your debt equity sitting in your home. And it's just, wouldn't you rather want to invest in your local communities, rebuilding neighborhoods, than investing in, some corporation that doesn't really care about you? So, it's a lot better now.
And what's so cool, what's really cool is with you is, I mean, you have so much going for you, right? You have so much in your back pocket that you still haven't used, and this is like raw. I mean, you raised 300. I have so much, I'm so impressed by what you've done. And I'm not just saying that because you're a student, because you haven't even used like your little stardom you have being on DIY. I mean, I don't have that. I would use the crap out of that to the fullest out there, because that alone makes you some kind of authority, right? You're a TV star, so it makes you some kind of authority. But even with that in your mind, you had trouble getting money. And I think the problem when we first spoke, I remember I have notes on when we first spoke, and I'm reading my notes a little bit here of how, because before I accepted, we had 19 people I had phone calls with, and I only accepted 3 at the time. I accepted 4. One person didn't sign up, so I only took 3, and then I took a different 4th later. But out of 19 people, we took 3. 3 people we took. We accepted 3 people in the program. And I hope that means something to you and everybody else, that this is not about us just taking on people. We put a lot of time into this. I mean, our calls are supposed to be an hour. Sometimes they were 2 hours long. We did extra calls. Our goal is to really see your success. And I like to hedge my bet. I'm an athlete. I hate to lose. I want to take somebody on. I don't want to say they failed. It's, maybe it's a personal thing. It's an ego thing, but I want to say, you know what, this guy, and I want to I want to eventually partner on deals with you. I look at it from my friend Martin. He's a great guy, Martin Science. He uses this, and he used this with me before, and I love it. So I got to give him credit. He's like, well, you guys we have from mentees to colleagues. And I love that. Why would I want to partner on a deal with somebody who's not willing to learn the right way? And you know how many people have bought my private money training online and have come to me and asked me for money? And I said, send me a package. And I don't ever see anything. It just means I know they didn't go through the training, right? So I know if you ever need money, I'm going to get a package from you. Because if I don't get a package, I just don't look. I don't have the time. I don't waste it. I'm not going to dig and research. I want to see a package before I look at anything. So that's what's so cool about you is now you're not asking for money. Now, you know, we went through your training, we went through your presentation, and I know we're going to go through one more final one before you do your meeting next Tuesday. And you've not asked for money at all. You're just presenting what you're doing. You're presenting opportunity, and you haven't asked for money. And when you stop asking for money is when money started following you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, and that's kind of what I see from everybody. So, so just give me some of the steps that you took. I want you to teach people how you protected them, like what you did, not only to raise money, but you do this so well at protecting investors. I mean, any investor would be, I think, be lucky to be, and I would be lucky to be part of your program and fund some of your deals because I know you're looking out for your investors. And I'm saying this, I have no dog in the race. I don't own your company. I don't raise money with you, but I'm telling you this, I'd be involved in funding some of your deals because I know you're out there doing due diligence. I know you're looking out for investors. I saw some of your projects where you had engineers come through, you moved walls, you did the right thing for investors. You bought it at such a huge discount that I hate to ever guarantee anything, but it's almost impossible for anybody to ever get hurt. And that's how you set your investors up. And that's why every investor out there is going to be lucky to work with you. And they're not going to believe what they see from you because they don't see this from everyone else because nobody does the due diligence you do to present your program. So just explain to me some of the things, you know, you could keep it slow. Tell us step by step some of the things you've done, you've put together in your package, and you learned through the program that, you know, you're presenting when you do your meeting on Tuesday.
So, you know, what I've learned so far is, you know, and I've learned a lot too, but protecting your investors is the most important thing, right? So what we're doing is, one, you know, we're pulling really, really good comps, you know, very similar properties, making sure everything's to the T, so that, you know, there's the aftermarket repair value is not an issue, right? We're also buying properties at a huge discount. So there's substantial amount of equity in the properties when we're buying them. That also gives the investor a very nice cushion. You know, we're buying properties, you know, I mean, even the one that I showed you the other day, we bought it for $30,000. That was less than 10% of the after repair value. And we sold that for $256,000. So as you can see, there's a lot of cushion in the deals for our investors. We have a great contractor crew and everything. You know, we're giving our investors mortgages where they're secured, promissory notes. We're giving them personal guarantees. You know, I'm personal guaranteeing these deals because I believe in it so much that says, hey, I back this. You know, we're adding them on the hazard insurance, right? We're adding them as a loss payee and additional insured. Okay, we're making sure they're additional policyholders on the title insurance, you know, because God forbid something comes up from previous title history problems and while we're owning it, and, you know, their investment, you know, gets wiped out because we didn't put them on, we didn't get title insurance or didn't put them on the policy. You know, we're putting them on our life insurance policy, you know.
Wow.
So that's another one.
I love it.
That a lot of people don't think about.
I love it. That's awesome. That was a great conversation we had. And it wasn't ridiculous, right? And then what did we talk about that was a little morbid? You know, what are the questions I asked? You remember the question I asked you?
No.
Remember I said what happens when you talked about how I'm protected, how great of a deal it is, how much I'm buying, how much you're buying it for, how much the rehab is. And I said, what happens when?
If I die or something.
Yeah, remember I said, what happens when you get hit by a truck?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you're like, whoa.
So, I mean, that's a really good point. If you're the only business, if you're the only person in your real estate company and you do get hit by a truck and now there's this project sitting around, not doing anything. And, if you don't have them on additional insured on your life insurance policy, that project's most likely just going to sit there. So if I were to die or get hit by a truck or whatever, my life insurance policy would pay back that investor.
And this is, if anyone's listening right now, the one golden nugget, if you got nothing else of what Jake just said, listen to what he just said. Nobody ever, ever, ever thinks about what happens when the crap hits the fan, what happens, God forbid I die. Now, Jake, you can't, we would be hard pressed if we said this is your company by yourself, because I watched that DIY video and there's somebody else in your company who's a rock star and you got to give her credit.
Yeah. Leanna, my partner, and also my partner in life, she's the bull, she runs all the contractors, keeps them straight in line, and I deal with the financing and getting the deals. So
yeah, I haven't gotten a chance though. I haven't worked with Leanna on this because Jake isn't, I guess you're the one who handles all the private money and she handles the contractors and stuff like that, which is a great, I'm saying that because this is not a one-man show. Jake is, this is a business for you, right? Talk about your business here. Who's involved in your business, and then let's talk about your day-to-day. Because here's the thing: there's a lot of fly-by nights that get, they see someone like Jake and Leanna on DIY Network, and they're like, "Hey, we can do this deal." And you guys should watch that DIY Network. And Jake, if you have the link and you want to post it in the comments below afterwards, here, I don't know if you have the link for that. I remember we talked about that. But post it, because I actually sat there and watched the whole thing, and I got a couple chuckles out of it. I enjoyed it, especially when you're carrying out that toilet bowl that stunk.
And they always get putting arrows at me.
She was a rock star. Without her, you would have been in trouble, my man. So, but talk about your business a little bit, like who's involved in your business, and then talk about your day to day, because there's not a lot of people that are full time in this business.
So, like how long we've been doing it and everything?
Yeah, just tell them a little about who you are, who's in your business, how long you're doing it, what you do on a daily basis.
So Leanna and I have been in the real estate industry for the past 3 years now in Delaware County, right? We've done over 14, we bought and sold and rehabbed over 14 single family homes and done it over 1.6 million in private money to date.
Awesome.
Deals, the day-to-day is just, it's a grind for sure, whether it's going out and looking at new deals, putting, credibility packets together now the right way, presenting our deal, locking deals down, meeting with contractors. I mean, we're all over the place in Delaware County trying to get the next deal, and structure it in the right way to where we're profitable, right? But we're also not cutting into our profits so much that, we're still able to give our investors a really great return.
But doesn't this open up a lot more deals for you, having private money instead of hard money? Like the numbers totally change.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm saving like 10 grand on deals now a piece or more, and I'm able to beat my competition too, because I'm able to yes, there's more meat on the bone, but I also can offer a little bit more too, right? Because I'm saving all that money on, I'm not paying 12 or 14% now, I'm paying half of that, right? I'm not paying those points now, at all. So it's like, hey, I can offer $5,000 more on a deal, beat my competition out, still earn a good profit and make our investors happy at the same time.
And that's what it's all about is, it's always got to be a win-win for you and your, by the way, guys, if you're on here listening, while Jake is on here, feel free to ask him any questions. If you're listening later on, feel free to post questions, and I'm sure Jake will, when he gets a chance, he'll be happy to. He's always very, very cool with his time and answers. He's been answering a lot of people's questions. So If you have any questions, just feel free to post them here so he can answer from you live. And you get the reason I bring Jake on is because I want you to hear from somebody who was in your shoes, literally 3 months ago, doing deals, still fairly new at it. Not so new. I mean, 13, 14 deals is not so new, but still fairly new, but not raising any of his own money, using hard money and making deals work with hard money. So if he was to do 14 deals and learn how to use private money, if he only saved $10,000 to $15,000 a deal, right? That's $150,000 to $200,000 in his pocket. And how long have you been in business now?
3 years.
3 years. So if you could put an extra $200,000 in your pocket in 3 years, would that interest you?
I mean, just think about it too. With private money, I'll be able to do more deals now. So I'm most likely going to do 30 deals over the next, couple, a year. So, I mean, now we're talking 300,
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And I know you will. How many deals do you think a year you've lost because of not having private money in the past?
Oh my God.
If you could put somewhat of a number, conservatively, not even.
I would definitely say 20 deals a year.
Wow. At even only let's say only $10,000 a deal. If it's only, what's your average deal size?
As like total investment? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, your total investment, purchase and rehab, how much you would borrow on a deal?
Purchase and rehab is around like 150 total.
Okay, so 150. Let's say we average, because sometimes you're at 2, sometimes you're at 4. Let's say 3 points. That's $4,500 a deal, right? Just in points. And then let's say in interest, so you're about $9,000. Let's just average $10,000 a deal. You're talking about a couple $100,000 a year difference. It's just, and then now how many of these deals we talked about it, you're going to start turning some of these deals into rentals, right?
Yes.
Yep. Has to income for yourself. Okay. And then then the next step might be seller financing, becoming the bank. So these are all huge things that you're going to take on, and you're always going to protect your lenders by not borrowing too much money. So God forbid there's a shift in the market, they're always covered.
Yeah. And it's great too, because, our primary business right now is fix and flips, right? But we want to get into rentals. And for instance, say if a deal is like a scratch and splash, right? The hard money just eats up all the opportunity to be able to, refinance out of the deal. So we're unable to do that, right? So now that we have private money, we're able to get in there, buy the property, save money on points and all that extra interest, and be able to scratch and splash and refinance and make these rentals. Where before we weren't able to do that because hard money killed the whole deal.
Explain to people what your scratch and splash means.
Scratch and splash.
I love that.
Scratch and splash is pretty much, hey, we're going in there and we're doing carpet and paint. Maybe there's tile. We're reglazing it. We're not doing anything fancy. You're in and out in 2 weeks. Put a for rent sign in there and you rent that bad boy out.
And then refi out, pay your
refi up, and just repeat the whole thing over again. Investors happy, we're happy. We're create affordable quality of living for the people, and just keep rolling with it.
And that's using that burn method that we teach in our other stuff.
Yeah, yep.
That's great. And then you're building up a couple $100 a month in passive income. So you really don't need. We talked about this. How much do you really think you need in private money to do your business? Because there's only so many deals you could do anyway, right? How much do you really think you need?
So we talked about that, and you asked me before. I was like, I think like 15 million. I'll need to be able to do as much as I want. And you were like, no, let's break it down, right? You think you need all this money, but you really don't. So I think it came down to like, what was it, $2 million or something like that? I needed to be able to do, I think 100 flips a year. It was. Because, you're buying 2, you're selling 2, and every month it's just turning in the velocity. And
that was building, I think we had talked about building like 40 or 50 rentals with that.
Yep.
It was just, you don't need, people think, like they come to me and they say, well, how do you raise $30 million in new money and I'm using it $200 million in velocity? But I also bought some multifamily, so I did some syndication, so I had to raise big money for that. But right now, I don't need that much money. I I mean, literally, I can get away with having $1 million to $2 million, and I'm fine. That's more money than I really need right now. That's more money than I want because I would lend it out if I had it because I don't want to be an operator. I don't want to be doing fix and flips. I don't want to be buying too many assets other than from the banks, right? Bank-owned assets. Anyone I buy from the banks, it's only a few $100,000 at a time. I don't need more than that because I don't want to be doing the work. You know, I became a lazy investor. I don't want to do that work. So I don't need all that much money anymore. So that's why now what I do is I raise capital and I fund some other people out there. I help them. I partner with good operators and I fund their deals and I become partners on their deals. So that's kind of how I do that. And like tomorrow night, I'm doing an interview with my project manager in Charlotte. And they're going to hear from him on how we do deals remotely, you know, because that's really, you know, the biggest thing for people is finding money, finding deals, and how do you manage people. So I can't bring anyone better on right now than you, somebody who was in 3 months ago in their shoes and who has already, to me, crushed it. If you've raised $1 before we finished training, you crushed it. You have your first meeting set up. We just finished training. Your first meeting set up with 5 accredited investor type people in the next week. You already have the place reserved. You have the people coming. Invitations are done. Your presentation is done. Your brochures are done. Your evaluation program is done. Your bio is done. I mean, everything is, your paperwork is done. There's nothing you need except to now go and keep doing it. You also did, we did that great training. I remember we showed you how to, we told you how to find business owners, right?
Nope, I was just going to talk about that, yeah.
Go ahead, talk a little bit about that. Yeah, because that training is going to be out there for people. And that's going to be a paid training for people, just so you know.
That was killer. That in itself was worth its weight in gold because, you know, I thought so closed-minded before I you started teaching me. And I just thought my inner circle, and that was it. You know, that was all the money I could have, and it wasn't that much. And you started showing me ways to find business owners and people in your backyard that you know have money and want to fund your deals. And it was just like within an hour's worth of time, I know all these people, they definitely have $5 million. And it wasn't even that many people, right? It's just like, it's right there in front of you. Now, obviously, you know, I'll have to bring them to our private money event and, you know, educate them on everything and whatnot. But I mean, it's right there. You know, it's not this far-fetched thing.
Well, that's the biggest thing. It's, you know, what I could do is I can give you the tools and I give you credit because you took the tools and you ran with them. So people say, well, I don't know how to find these people with money. Well, I showed you how to find the people with money. They say, I don't know what to do with the people with money. I showed you what to do with the people with money. But now it's you taking the action. So the credit is to you. I just provided tools. And I've done this many times, provided people with tools. And so many of them don't take action. You've taken action already. And you haven't even hit the tipping point. That's why I can't wait to keep following up with you in the next 3 months and 6 months and 1 year and see where you're at. And maybe at one point you're out there training some of my students for me and coming from you, it's pretty good because it's not me. And people sometimes look at me and they say, well, you're way up here and I can't get there. How do I get to $30 million? How do I raise $30 million in new money, brand new money, right? Forget about the 200 million because that's velocity, right? And I only have 42 investors. That's it. I don't have a ton of investors. How do I get there? And I say one investor at a time. How do I get to 42? One at a time. 42 is not a ton. I know people that have 200-300 lenders because they need that kind of money. Okay. But I like being loyal to the investors I have. As long as they want to keep funding my deals, I keep going back to them over and over again, right? Because it's a loyalty thing for me. I don't need 1 million investors. I need some good ones. And that's really what I have. That's exactly what I do. So I love the fact that you took what we did and you're starting to build your list of people because it's easy to raise money from people you know. Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. Because actually sometimes raising money from the people you know are the hardest.
Yeah.
You know, because they know Jake is this kid who used to go out and ride his bike and punk around the neighborhood and bottles at people and you know, ring and run and create havoc, right? That's what they know is Jake. They don't know you as a guy who's done $1.5 million in real estate, been on a TV show, paid every investor back, all their principal plus interest, never not paid anybody back. And that's the most important thing. They don't know that Jake right now. So you going out there and starting to build this rapport with business owners and how to deal with those business owners and what to say and how to get them into your events. I mean, we got 5 people come to your event come next week, and you're going to crush it. You're just going to crush it.
Yeah,
So,
I can't wait for the next one, and just keep this thing going, rolling and do it every single week. Build a nice investor database and giving people, the returns they want and pretty much deserve. Better than average. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
And I know you had a couple road bumps along the way, and we don't have to talk about those road because people on, I don't know, but you had a couple road bumps along the way, and you didn't let that stop you. You still had your event done. You made sure it got done. You had it on your schedule. I'm going to do it this day, and you got it done. And a lot of other people would have turned around and said, you know what? There's an issue. I couldn't have it at the first place. It wasn't working out. So you went and you pivoted immediately and got it done. So, and that's kind of why we brought you in the program. So I think I hope it means something that to get in the program, like I told my marketing guy, I'm sure they would have loved me to take on 30 people, because they make money on this stuff. But to me, it's not about that. It's about, building a successful mentorship program with colleagues I can work with and partner with. So we all make money together at some point. And I only want to partner with people who actually learn the right way to do things. So I love what you've done. You have anything people that are looking to get involved in raising private money, whether it's me or anyone else, there's not a commercial for me, but I know it was scary in the beginning. What kind of recommendations would you get if you could tell them anything? What would you tell them?
Well, knowing what I know now, I would say get the help and learn from a mentor. Because if you're raising money the wrong way, it can be a very, very bad day or a very bad few years for you even, if you get caught raising money the wrong way. Because if you're not doing it right, protecting your investors, doing the right paperwork and everything, it's a crime,
That's awesome.
So, that's the best thing. And then learning how to really secure your investors, your investors' investment. Because if it's pretty much not for them, you're not going to be able to do deals or scale to the extent that you want. So get a mentor, get help, learn from a professional, so you can go out there and do it yourself.
That's awesome. Jake, tell them a little bit if they want to reach out to you. Don't give your cell phone, obviously. You might get bombarded with people just with questions, but how can people find you? And, I linked you on Facebook here. I would love you to put your DIY link if you have it. I don't really give links out for HDTV, but if you have it, feel free to put it in the comments in the group here. Once again, I wholeheartedly back Jake and Leanna and what their business does. They're somebody I would definitely partner on deals with myself because of the way they're doing their business. And I look forward to definitely post your pictures of the event next week. I want to see that. I want to see maybe a couple videos, the event pictures. Let people see you're really doing what you say you're doing. Because I know there's a lot of people on Facebook. We nickname it fake books sometimes. People are out there talking all they're doing. And I want show people some of the deals you're doing. Feel free to put them up. The deals, hey, don't raise money on our page. You're not allowed to do that legally. But hey, this is the deal I'm working on now. This is the deal we just got. Because you're somebody that people are going to start looking up to. You could start educating without even truly formally educating them. Because there's a lot of people in this group that want to learn. They want to learn how you did it. And the biggest problem that most people have is they don't believe that they can do it. Okay. Yeah. They're born with this scarcity mindset, the limited beliefs in themselves, and they just believe they can't be, it's not for them. Money goes to money. You need money to make money. Yep. I don't know anybody. I've heard it all from people. I've heard all the negativity, or people come on and say, how can I get a discount? Can you train me for this price? And that's an instant no for me, because your mindset, I can't fix your mindset. If your mindset's not right, I can't work with anything else.
And that was a big thing for me too. A limited mindset, like, the people that were in my circle, I can't get any more money, right? I learned how to get more money, meet other potential investors. I'm 25 years old. I've only been in the business 3 years. Okay. I don't come from a silver spoon family. And nobody in my family has ever invested. Like, I'm the only one. They still think I'm crazy, but that's okay. You know, you just, you
But
have
Jake,
to,
you get a real job.
exactly, but you have to pay to play. It's your tuition to the market. Because you pay now, if not, you'll pay later. That's
I'll
for
tell
sure.
you this. I wish, and I'm not here to impress anybody with this or impress you. It's to impress upon you. Like my mentor says, Mark Evans, he says the same thing. It's, I wish that I had somebody like myself to teach me back in the day how to raise money. I mean, I still remember scrambling and begging and pleading for $50,000 for one of the biggest deals to this day I've ever done in my life. Back then, I was a 22-year-old kid, just came out of the Navy, and I was begging and pleading for $50,000. That deal has made me well over $10 million net over 4 years. And I couldn't get $50,000. I pleaded with everybody. Everyone turned me down. I had no idea how to do this. If I would have found a guy like myself back then, it would have saved me so much heartache. Or if I would have learned, when I started fixing and flipping houses, if I would have had a mentor I paid for, it would have been worth every penny. Like Larry Steinhaus, he has the investor school. And he says, how much does it cost you for you to train me? He goes, a lot cheaper than it cost you for your first mistake. And he's not kidding. There are so many mistakes I've made in my life that if I had a mentor, because now I look at them like I'm sure you have too in those 14 deals you've done. I look at them like, I cannot believe I did that. How in the world did I do something so stupid? But a mentor would, I could have ran the deal with a mentor. They would have looked at it differently than me. They would have stopped me from doing it. And it's even the same thing with private money. If I don't lend on a deal, it usually means it's not a good deal. Because if it's a good deal, I could probably get you the money. So that when a lender tells you, hey, I'm not going to lend on it, it's usually either it's not in their wheelhouse, but if it is in their wheelhouse, it's just not a good deal.
Right.
Awesome. So people can reach out to you. What's the name of your company? And
so Penny Capital, also known as Prestige Empire LLC. You can reach out to me on Facebook. Dan put in the link, or reach out to me on Instagram at Jake Penny Real Estate. That's
Jake Penny Real Estate. Cool. Yeah, feel free to put all your contact info on there. I wouldn't just give out your cell phone number to everybody because they'll start, blasting your number. I don't see questions on here right now, so we're gonna wrap it up. But I'm sure people are heading home from work, and I know this was a good time for you and I today, and I just wanted to get this out there for people so they can watch it later, and we'll send it out. It'll be on our YouTube page. If you're not on a YouTube page, go to Zitofsky. That's under Zitofsky Capital Management, the YouTube page. Join that. That's where we're putting a lot of our content now. And if you have any questions for Jake, just feel free to reach out. But Jake's a rock star. Him and Liana, they're moving through the ranks, and they're going to be big players here in the next six months to a year. I think he's already a rock star, but I mean, you're going to start really hearing about him. And I could see him one day on stages speaking like we are, and teaching other people what he's doing because he's doing it the right way. And he's so interested in learning and making his craft even better. So thanks so much for being on, Jake. Thanks, Liana, for everything she's doing too. I know she's the brains behind the operation. You're just, and I appreciate you guys. And we'll speak soon.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Take care. Bye-bye.